everyone, today we'll be talking about hinges and control surfaces. In order to make a hinge and a control surface along with it, there's a lot of different methods. So we just want to talk about some general guidelines and three specific techniques to creating these. Don't let this limit you. If you come up with your own idea, feel free to try it out and experiment with different ideas. In all ways, even when applying these techniques, make sure to test them out beforehand, because there's a lot of pit holes and ways that you can fall down in trying to do these. First one that we're going to go over is tape. Tape is a big area where it makes a very simple and effective control surface, but not all tapes stick to all materials. Oftentimes we use this purple foam right here, and we have colored tape in great abundance in the lab for coloring your aircraft, but it does not stick really at all to this purple foam in the slightest. So in making a hinge from tape, you're going to need to use something called fiber tape. Duct tape is a type of fiber tape that's a little bit heavy, but we can use it for our purposes here today. The simplest tape hinge, of course, is to put just a piece of tape over the top. After laying the hinge nice and close to it, lift it up, and then with the second piece, tape the bottom here for added strength. Wrap that around, and you have the hinge. You want to go through this nice and carefully, and make sure you cut a 45-degree angle here on the bottom side so that your control surface can deflect down in addition to the side that you put the tape on. Second way to do this that does not require you to cut a 45-degree angle is the monkey ladder method of applying tape. Here we have two pieces of duct tape. We flip one upside down and lay one over the top of the other, just like this, so that there is a section of unadhesive tape that is completely covered. For this, we slide this between the hinge, the section that does not have any adhesive, and tape the top surface of the wing and the bottom surface of the aileron. When we do this, we'll go ahead and take our previous tape off here, so I can show you where this bends. With the idea of it being a monkey ladder, you would alternate these back and forth with a couple of them, but then it allows for deflection in both directions without having to cut the 45-degree angle with this method. For both of these, a big pitfall for aero modelers is to create your tape hinges with a lot of slot between the aileron and the wing. Make sure that all of your taping and all of your edges are nice and tight and flush, and you've planned everything out really accordingly so that you, as your control horn is actuating, it's not just moving your aileron in and out, but it is in fact giving you the deflection that you want so that you can maintain control of your aircraft. Moving on from tape hinges, we have the glue hinge. It turns out that some glues are flexible and able to create a hinge for you just from the adhesive itself. This method takes a little bit longer. You'll need to apply the glue, let it set overnight, but this is also a major area where you need to pay attention to what type of glue you're using and what materials you're trying to bond. We're going to demonstrate the method here for the sake of having just one wing using this goop glue. However, I will say in advance that goop glue does not like this purple foam. You see here a previously applied portion of it where the glue is just eating away at it, and it will eat straight through this foam. This method, however, does work very well with other types of foam, specifically EPP. It works well for if you're just using cardboard or other building materials. Feel free to try those out. In this method, keep in mind also that goop glue is not very bio-friendly, so try not to get it on your skin. You'll place the hinge right up against the control surface and apply a nice and gentle layer of it across the hinge. Feel free to move back and forth. With this glue, you've got some time to work with. It'll take a little bit to set. You just want a nice and thin surface there. Once you've applied it, you'll actually pull this out back and forth a little bit to let it start creating those strings and attaching, and then eventually just let it set right there. Notice that as we're doing this, we always want to glue on these tables on top of some sort of mat, whether it be cardboard or foam core board, so that we don't get glue all over the tables, especially where others will be coming later and using it. Make sure as well, as you're cleaning this back and forth, it's okay to use the nozzle to help you wipe so you don't get it on your skin, but make sure to clean up this extra glue that's around there as well. I'm going to grab a paper towel to clean off right now before I forget. Sometimes getting it wet makes it a little bit better, but I'll just simply kind of grab around here, clean that off, make it look nice and pretty, and make sure to securely fasten the cap so that we don't ruin this, so that all of the extra glue that's in here goes to waste because it all hardens and we can't get any more out of here. Also, when you're using glue, note that certain types of glue, as we mentioned in the adhesives handout, will expand. Feel free to use T-pins to pin it down to your foam core board mat and to let it set overnight. Also make sure if you need to leave the room and let this set for overnight that you label your project. You don't want someone coming in here not realizing whose it is, it being in their way and they end up throwing it away or something happening to your project. So make sure it's labeled with your name, your number, when you plan on coming to pick it up so that we can stay in contact with you and your project doesn't have to go to waste. This isn't fully set yet. Like I said, it's going to eat through this type of foam. However, once you come in and it's all set for a different material, what you'll want to do is finish up the hinge by working it back and forth a little bit so that glue continues to be flexible. Again, this is the part where it's really important to have a thin layer of glue, because if you have too much, the hinge becomes really tight and you'll have to try to cut away glue or just rip it out entirely and reapply it in order to make a proper hinge. If you have any questions about glues or materials that make a proper hinge, feel free to contact us. The final method is, of course, just using hardware to create a hinge. There's a lot of different hinges that are out there that you can use. One that we have here readily available in the lab are these little pin hinges that you can stick just directly into the foam on either side. Typically you want to glue with some sort of hot glue to make sure it stays in there, that you can just kind of shove in. With this, you also want to make sure that you're using a hinge that will be small enough for the material that you're using. You don't want to be sticking it into material that's too thin and it'll destroy it. We're getting kind of thin here, so an alternative method that I could consider using is just placing it along the top, which is less ideal. You probably want to get a hinge that's more flat, but if you're worried about that, you can apply those. In this case, we'll just simply take this little guy, shove it in here into our wing. Notice that, like I said, it's a little bit thin, so it's going to start ripping along the top here. You want to shove it in all the way until that hinge, working it back and forth. Well, I'm just destroying this wing. So that you can get, there we go, that nice control surface that you're looking for. Once you've done that, a lot of these have barbs and so they will stick in there for you. But then you can pull it out, apply a thin layer of glue, hot glue on here. Again, keeping it on top of a foam core board mat so that we're not getting glue on the tables. And ram it in there. Keeping in mind the hot glue will dry very quickly, and so this hinge will be usable fairly quickly. Similarly, I'll go into this side, make sure I know where I want that to go in. On this other side, because the aileron is getting so thin, we've got other ones that are smaller, such as this, that you can use that would fit into here. To continue with this demonstration, we'll just show gluing it along the top. Again, I'll apply a hot glue right there. I have to just come up to this little guy, apply it. This is going to be a really messy example. Keep in mind to not burn yourself with hot glue. It is hot. And once that's set, you've got a hinge that can move back and forth. Thanks for being patient with these examples. We'll let these sit for a little while and then come back and talk about control surfaces in just a second. And as always, if you have any questions about hinges, about various methods, about proper materials to use or the best ones for your application, feel free to reach out to us and ask questions.